Hello everyone, hope you're doing well given everything that's going on at the moment. Hope you're staying inside, hope you're staying safe and staying sane at this time as we're all kind of in the middle of lockdown. But the purpose of this video today is just to give you a bit of an introduction into what you can expect at National 4 and National 5 Modern Studies. So focusing on National 5 for most of it, but we'll mention some National 4 stuff as well. So at National 5 for Modern Studies, essentially the course, how you're marked is split into two parts. There's the exam, which is worth 80 marks, and then there is the assignment, which is kind of a research project you do yourself, which is worth 20 marks, and so together the whole course is worth 100 marks. So nice and easy, so you're going to get a mark out of 100 in the end. When it comes to the exam, 50 marks are going to be what are called knowledge and understanding questions. So they're going to be based on the content that we cover in class, and I'll touch on the different units in a little second. So 50 marks, knowledge and understanding, and the other 30 marks are going to be from source questions. So they're going to be based not on what we cover in the course, but on the different skills that we look at in interpreting evidence and information. How accurate is it? Is it biased? And what conclusions can we draw from it? And what decisions can we make? So, focusing for a second on the knowledge and understanding, and basically what do we study in modern studies? Well, there's three key units that we focus on. The first of which, we might do them in a different order, but just going through the SQA curriculum or course specifications, the first thing is democracy, and we choose to look at democracy in Scotland. So we focus on the different political parties in Scotland, who is in charge, how are decisions made in our democracy in Scotland, what are the role of the parties like the SNP, the Conservatives, the Labour Party, and who is in charge of making decisions? How is the Parliament formed? How is the government formed? What is the role of the First Minister as the person who leads up the Scottish Government? What is it that they do in their role? We'll also be looking at ways that we all can participate in our democracy in Scotland, how it's not just something that is kept for certain people. All of us can get involved in different ways. So that's kind of what we look at in democracy in Scotland. For our second topic, our second unit that we look at is crime and the law. So this is in Scotland and this is in the UK as well. And I should mention for these three units, it'll be the same for National 4 as well. We cover the same units for National 4 and for National 5. It's just the only difference is in terms of how we assess the work that's done. So our second unit, crime and the law, this is us looking at the criminal and legal system in Scotland and in the UK. Essentially what happens from someone committing a crime all the way through to them going through the legal system. How are they found guilty or not guilty? Or in the case of Scotland, there's also the ruling of not proven, how that whole system works. Also looking at the different sentences that can get given out, the different levels of the court system, looking at prison sentences, how long those prison sentences can be, what are the alternatives to prison sentences. We'll be looking at things like the children's hearing system. We'll be looking at the police, how can you stop crimes in the first place. We'll be looking at things like causes of crime, so a lot to unpack there in crime and the law. And then finally, our last unit is going to be the USA. You get lots of choice in this area for your last unit. You can look at different world powers or different international issues. So we're going to look at the USA because it continues to be so relevant for us and for the whole world. Especially at this kind of time where we're looking at how the whole world is dealing with the coronavirus, and the USA really being in the headlights at the moment. So we'll look at the USA, we'll look at decision making in the USA, similar to as we look at democracy in Scotland. We'll look at democracy in the USA, how are decisions made, who is in charge. We'll look at key features like the Constitution, like the Senate, the Congress, the House of Representatives. We'll look at the key parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, but we'll also go outside the political side and we'll look at the influence of the USA on the whole world. Why are we looking at it? Why are they so important? What is their influence like? and we'll look at organizations like NATO and the UN, and we'll also, as well as looking at their influence and their political aspects, we'll look at socio-economic issues that exist in the USA. What problems are they trying to deal with within their country? So that's kind of the knowledge and understanding topics. In terms of how we answered the questions, you'll be glad to hear we use the same basic structure for all 50 marks worth of knowledge and understanding questions in the exam. So all our knowledge and understanding questions will answer in the same way using the P structure. So point, explain, extension. Some different schools did slightly differently. Ours is just point, explain, extension. You state your point that you're making using the language of the question. You then explain your point. Why is it relevant to the question? Why is it important? What is it you're trying to say? And then you extend your answer to try and get an extra mark, either through a relevant example or through some further explanation. So we'll touch on that a lot more as we continue to finish off this kind of preparation for National 4 and 5 units, and then as we get started for real going into 4th year. Coming to the source questions, there are 3 types. At National 5, you will have to answer one of each of them in the final exam. So there's one, which is the support oppose question, where there is a statement made by somebody and you need to look at the evidence and find evidence that both supports the statement and opposes the statement. So that's the support oppose. There's the option choice, sometimes called the decision-making question, where there are 2 options and you need to choose which option you support and give evidence for it and give evidence why you didn't pick the other option. And then finally, there's the conclusions question, which is, they'll again be sources of information, and you will need to form 4 conclusions based on different points using the information in the sources. So that's all the exam. The last thing to talk about is the assignment, which is worth 20 marks. Again, this is an individual research project. You get to choose the topic from across modern studies and pick something you're interested in to research. You will get about 8 hours or so in class to work on it, but you can also work on it at home. You have that option too. And so you get 8 hours or so in class, you get time at home, and then it comes down to a final write-up, which will be an hour in class, where you will have to write up your research, and it's that gets sent away to the SQA to get marked externally. We create a research sheet as part of your assignment prep, but again, that's something we'll discuss in a lot more detail as we get actually into the course after change of timetable. So, but saying that, it's still, you get a chance to kind of think, what sort of topics would I be interested in? I've got some ideas here. There'll be other ideas that'll be floated about as we get closer to the actual assignment time. But you can start to think about what sort of ideas you'd like to research. And that is essentially it. That's kind of a whistle-stop tour of everything in National 4 and National 5 Modern Studies. I focus mostly on National 5 stuff for just now, but essentially there's the exam, which is 80 marks, and there's the assignment, which is 20 marks. And in the exam, 50 of those marks are from your knowledge and understanding, what you learn and revise in the course content, and 30 marks are the source questions. You'll answer one of each in the final exam. Okay, folks, hope that was helpful. Just a brief overview of what to expect at National 4 or National 5 Modern Studies. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you later.